Okay, had a little bit of a break in there, but let's continue. So, um, this next scene was between Allison and Laris Strong, the clubfoot. They had a little bit of a dinner date here.
Where he
Um,
started eating the pie without her.
yeah, and
Oh,
she's basically complaining about the situation with the Hand of the King and how she wished that her dad was still Hand of the King. And he's just kind of like, listening to her, listening to her. And I gotta say, like, most of the characters on this show are pretty morally gray, but this guy, he has like no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Like, this is just,
Yeah.
if this was like a straight up 80s cartoon villain, this would be it. This guy, he's just like,
Yeah.
so like, I don't know what's going on. Do you feel the same way about that?
I do. I felt like, so when he had started eating without her, I was like, oh, that's rude. But then I felt like once I saw the scene play out, I was like, okay, maybe that's just their relationship. And then at the end, when they have their little chat at the end, I'm like, oh no, he's bad. Like eating that pie was rude because that's who he is, not because like they have some kind of special relationship. I think he's only looking out for his own agenda, whatever that may be, because I'm not really sure. Like, I think he just wants to like influence and like always want to be a part of the throne in some way. Like, feel like he has some control over what's going on because, like, poor guy, he can't hold like a legitimate position in court, unfortunately, because at this time, like, people really look down on like him walking
deformities.
with the cane. Yeah. So, anyways, that's how I felt. I was like, that was rude at first, but he's just bad.
Yeah, I think of when I was like reading about this on reactions and online and social media. This was like probably the number one thing I read is like, why is he doing this though? Like, why is he like, why would he? Other than like, because that now he gets to own Harrenhal.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
Oh, true.
I
I
mean
didn't even think about that.
that seems pretty extreme to just just to get the seat of Harrenhal. Like, was his dad and brother, did they mistreat him at all? His dad seems like a pretty darn decent guy. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like he probably wouldn't be that kind of person. Is he just, did he just, is he just like one of those people that just ends up being a sociopath, you know? Is he
Mm-hmm.
just like super ambitious and he just wants like everything?
Oh,
You don't know. So I'm hoping we see more from that, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't. He just turns out to be just just a straight up villain that everybody hates. Because so far, like most of the characters, there hasn't been like a Joffrey type character where everybody hates him, right?
Yeah.
Like people, a lot of people like Prince Daemon. A lot of people like
Mm-hmm. I
both
like
Rhaenyra
Damon.
or Alicent. A lot of people like Kristen Cole. So yeah.
oh my God. Sidebar, really quick. Sorry. Ryan, we need to have another one about Don't Worry, Darling. Another podcast.
Did you guys watch it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know if
I
you guys were
haven't
serious
watched
or
it.
not about that. We can. I have notes on that. I wrote notes, so I have notes for
Wait,
that.
I want to. How did you watch it in the theater?
In the theater.
Yeah,
You should watch it in the theater.
I
if
don't
you
want to
watch
go to
it,
the
Evelina, we
theater.
can do it.
The theater here is not good. I have to go to like San Jose to watch it in theater, and that's really far. I'll wait for it to come out on a
Okay,
streaming platform.
Okay.
okay, okay.
Speaking of which, streaming platforms, just within the waves, do we know when Bullet Train is coming to streaming platforms
uh,
around?
I do not. I do not know for sure when uh, that is coming out on streaming, but it might be
Shall.
sooner than you think. So
Okay. Because I did see that today it's available digitally, but for purchase.
mm-hmm.
Anyways,
Okay, well,
just thought about that.
you'll probably have to check that out, Evelina. So
Yeah, I'll check it out.
um,
Um, but yeah, I do want to have a podcast about it because I tried to like look up my questions on Reddit and all I could find is people just talking about the drama surrounding it, not the actual content of the movie. I'm like, can people hurry up and go out and watch it? Because it's actually good. I really liked it. And it left me with many questions
Okay, that's
and
very interesting because I really did not like it, so we had to have a discussion.
I think that I going into it, I don't want to like it, but I think I'm gonna like it because everyone said Florence did such a great job. So I'm expecting to like it, but trying not to like it. But I haven't seen it, so we'll see.
Well, we'll have to set up a time,
and
Claudia and
Marcella,
Marcella. Yeah.
yeah, because she saw it with me.
Okay. All right. Let's continue on. We'll talk about that later.
You have to see it, Lena. You have to.
The second to last scene was Lena's birth scene, and we kind of already went over this. It's like the exact same situation that in the first episode with the queen not being able to give birth naturally to this baby, except instead of suffering the same fate as the queen, Lena was like, nope, she's gonna go out on her own terms. She is one badass lady.
Yes. So I think I missed something in this scene, but then like the foreshadowing of like when she's talking to Damon about like when they were like, oh, should we stay in Pentos? And she was like, I want to die a dragon rider's death.
Mm.
Then I was like, oh, but I didn't get it. So same thing. This baby, it was either her or the baby, right? And then the doctor asked Damon, do you want to try to get the baby out, like pick one, right? And then he basically says no, right? He's like, no, he's not gonna choose one over
I don't
the
think they
other.
showed his reaction.
Said anything, yeah.
And I think she heard them.
She heard it,
and
yeah.
she was aware, like she had her faculties about her, because I think the queen in the first, like she was still kind of out of it, the queen in the first episode, but this one she still had her wits about her, so she was like, I ain't gonna do it. I don't. And like, yeah. So and I don't think they showed his reaction or his answer.
Oh, okay. Because I took like the no reaction as like a no. Like he just like, I felt like that was like him feeling like disrespected that the doctor would even come and ask him that, like to choose one over the other. But you're right. It was like a no reaction. So then she chose to just die. Like, because she didn't want to live in the world basically where the child died.
But then it's not her. It's not her or the baby.
Anyway.
It's not her or the baby. It's
they're both gonna die.
She's definitely gonna die, and there might be a chance to save the baby, which is what the same case in the first episode with the queen. The woman is definitely gonna die, no matter what. They don't have the technology, so.
Okay,
I think the important part of this scene is that she chose to die herself, and Emma didn't have that same choice.
Yes, Emma was not given the choice. She did not make a choice, and which was like, the cruelty of the whole situation.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas she was allowed to make a choice, or she took that choice, or whatever. They don't really show you how she got out of there, right? She's just kind of by herself, so they don't really show you, like, how she got out of there without Damon like trying to stop her, because I think any husband would be like, "Don't, where are you going?" Like,
Yeah, or like all the midwives in there,
all
like,
those. So she
probably
like she probably pulled some shenanigans or something to get them out of there. But I think considering the circumstances, this is probably like the best possible scenario out of a really crappy scenario to go out on your own terms, right?
Right. But for me, like, why would she leave the kids behind? Why would she leave Damon behind? Like,
but she was
she's gonna die no matter what. She's gonna die no matter what. So,
but she didn't want to try to give the baby a chance. I guess this was her choice, right?
Her choice, yeah.
Okay.
And it would be agonizing. And like she said, like that's who she is. She's a dragon rider. Like that's as a person, she wants to go out in flames.
Like a little badass.
Like a badass.
Yeah.
I saw memes about how like Damon doesn't know how to do the kids' hair. He's gonna have to learn how to do their hair. Sorry.
Well, you take them back home. Take them back to Driftmark. They'll have people know how to do the hair.
That
Yeah.
reminds me of when Evelina was saying how like not she didn't get her hopes up when Rainier proposed that like the two kids married to Allison, right, Evelina?
Hmm.
Okay, I got my hopes up for that, and I also got it like my hopes up high when she was saying how she misses her brother and how her didn't her brother want to go back home or did he want to go on a like a tour in the ocean and like float or something. I don't know. I was like thinking that
Wait, which one? Who's missing their brother?
Lena is missing her brother
Lena
because she got
is
a letter from him. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So I was thinking, OMG, are they gonna be reunited? Like, are they gonna hang out again? No. But then now that I think about it, I'm like, maybe Rhaenyra and Damon are gonna be reunited. Because
That's what
now
I'm hoping.
she's going back to who knows where, I forget where. And then maybe he'll like, come over to her.
She's at. So I think that's the last scene. Are we ready to move on to that
Oh,
scene?
sorry.
Claudia, you cannot.
Sorry.
You're not invited to the next one.
Stop trying to ship these characters that are. No, actually, you are actually right on the money.
Okay, I knew it.
You are
I knew
actually
it.
right on the money. I just didn't want to spoil it, but I
Well,
couldn't be
I
mean to you.
want Damon and Rhaenyra to get together.
They are,
I want.
they are niece and uncle. You know that, right? By
Yeah,
blood,
but
niece
Yeah,
and
you know
uncle.
what? The Targaryens have been, wedding each other
Oh,
for
okay.
ages,
All right.
tale
Yeah.
as old as time.
Yeah. Okay.
This is normal for them. And to be honest, this like makes the most sense for me to like legitimify Rhaenyra's claim to the throne.
Okay.
Because Daemon is the brother of Viserys. So when Viserys goes out, Daemon doesn't, well, I guess he's not the heir. But say Rhaenyra wasn't the heir, wouldn't Daemon like be the next rightful heir? But then since Rhaenyra is the heir, but she's a woman, if her and Daemon get together, then it's like this is exactly who should be involved in the throne.
yeah, not some high tower bitch.
I'm seeing.
Oh, okay. I know whose
Damn,
side you are on
got
now. Okay. All
fired.
right.
Sorry.
I
It
know whose
was
side you're on now. All right. I
But I
expect you
also
in the last
but
episode, Claude. You show up like, or in the next podcast, you show up with like Team Rhaenyra, Team Targaryen,
Team Team
I like
Damon,
flags
Quick
waving.
Team
Flags.
Demir, Damon and Rhaenyra.
Um, you know what? I gotta give credit to the CGI people, the special effects people, for Vagar's portrayal, because Lena in this scene, she tells Vagar to burn her, and Vagar's really confused,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
hesitates. And I want to ask you girls, would Clover or Kalala, if you asked them to harm you, if you commanded them to harm you, would they do it?
Well, I haven't gotten Kilala to bark on command, so I think she would be confused. She'd be like, "What? What do you want from me?"
Okay.
I I also don't think Clover will do it because he's so stubborn. He'll do it if he wants to, but if you ask him to bite him,
No.
he won't do it. But he'll bite you while you're playing, things like that. I'm like, Clover.
Or
So
while
I
you're
feel like
sleeping, he'll
so I
come
feel
and jump on your head.
like so yeah, I feel like if I told him, he would be like, I don't feel like it right now.
So we got a case of stubbornness versus needs a little more education. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know what? Same thing. All credit to the CGI people because when that dragon came on the screen, like I was like, wow, that dragon is beautiful. And then you could really see like the kind of push and pull within the dragon's mind of like, you want me to do this, but it's you, like you're my commander and all that.
Yeah.
So you could see like, that inner turmoil within the dragon themselves. And I think that showed like how important the dragons' roles are in this because we always see, or we've been kind of shown to see, like the Targaryens or the rulers, they control the dragons. But then here it's like, no, the dragons, like, it
There's
kind
a
of like,
bond. There's a
yeah,
bond.
there's a bond and they play a really big part in this too. Like, in the relationship with the Targaryens. So that was a good call out, Ryan, the CGI artist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I cried during that scene. It was heartbreaking.
I
Yeah.
didn't cry, but I was like, no. It was
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
That is crazy how they were able to, or maybe we exaggerate, but yeah, I felt the emotion of the dragon in that scene. I was like, oh,
The
he doesn't
dragon?
want to do it because that's his
Yeah.
rider. He loves her. He doesn't want to kill her. And then I was like, I wonder if he's not going to do it. And he did it. I was like, oh, what a good boy. He actually listens. I wonder what that would be like.
Yeah.
Clever.
Yeah, that part was different from the book. In the book, she dies in a crap. I just remembered it and now I forgot it again. But she definitely did not die like that.
Mm.
And Daemon and her had already gone back to Westeros already.
Oh, they're going to go to Westeros?
That's
Well,
my
in the
next
book,
question.
they'd only been in like Pentos for a couple years, and then they went back to Westeros. So like at this point in the timeline, they were already back there.
Oh.
I think they were
When
living
she
on
was
Driftmark
giving this birth.
when she was giving this birth. So like they've already been back for like a bunch of years. I think they only spent like 2 or 3 years in Pentos, whereas in the show, it's like it seems like they've been there for 10 years, right?
Yeah,
So,
they've been there for a while.
for a while. It's it's just different, but I actually think this is an improvement. Although I can't remember exactly how she died in the book, but I just really like how they did it here.
Another scene that I liked with the dragons was it was like the opening scene, I think, with the dragon over the water and how it's like feather no, feathers, wings were like touching the ocean.
Yeah,
You guys remember that opening scene? That was beautiful. I loved that.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
That was
Made me
good.
really want
And
one. That
something
was
somebody
beautiful cinematography.
online pointed out that I read was the fact that Damon's dragon has grown a lot because it's been 10 years since we've seen it, and it's like gotten a lot bigger. So that was like, oh, they thought about that, like, you know, doing that.
So at this time, Damon has the biggest dragon.
Well, it's Lena's dragon. I guess it's like with him though over there. Like it's not his dragon, Vagar. Vagar's the biggest dragon, not the one that Damon's riding. Lena's dragon was Vagar, which is the biggest.
Oh. Oh, okay.
But they're both
I
pretty
didn't know
big
that.
dragons. They're like
Yeah.
way bigger than that
Yeah,
other one. What's that other one's
I think
name?
his is the third biggest. I
Yeah.
think the second biggest I think is Rhaenys Targaryen. Lena,
Oh, the wife.
Lena
The sister.
and
The
Laenor's
queen that
mom.
never was.
Yeah, the queen that never was.
Hmm.
I think hers is the second biggest.
She
Second
can't
biggest.
even ride that thing. She's gonna break a hip.
Well, she's probably my favorite character so far. Favorite real character aside from the Dragon Keeper dude, who's just like the badass. But like as far as like characters that have substantial lines, yeah, she's probably mine. And in the book, she's pretty badass too. We didn't get to see her this episode though, so
No.
hopefully she comes back the next one.
Yeah.
Okay, so our last scene is oh wait, this is not the last scene. What am I talking about? Okay, yeah. No, sorry, yeah. Our last scene was this scene with Harwin and his dad in what are you
We're
girls
cleaning
doing?
our teeth.
Okay.
Claudia's over here like.
Harwin and his dad go back to Harrenhal, and where they think they're safe, but a fire breaks out, and they're dead.
I could
And they're
not
gone.
believe it. But I'm just a fool. I'm an idiot. What is it called? I'm naive. I should remember how cruel the writers are.
Yeah.
Because I was like, no, no, this isn't happening. And I was like, no, no, he's gonna get out. He's gonna get out. And then
No.
that whole the whole ceiling of the whole roof caved in on him, and I was like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
So is the dad. And then it hit me that that was on purpose.
And
Like, oh, yeah.
and we find out that it's Laris, and we kind of already talked about him being the culprit. So in this scene, I kind of want to just talk about Allison's reaction, which is like, she's like, I didn't ask you to do that. And he's like, yeah, you didn't ask, but, it was bothering you it was bothering you that they were, in the picture, so I took care of it. Like, that's basically what he was saying, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, just because I have a problem, first of all, I didn't ask you to solve it. Second of all, you just went like on the nuclear option. You couldn't pick like a less
A peaceful version.
yeah, more peaceful way of doing it, especially since it's your own dad and brother.
Yeah, I think Allison is not. She is to still blame. We should still blame her because she's the one who decides to have these little coffee and teas with him and vent all her problems and frustrations. So, and a good friend would do something about that. But yeah, I know we're not talking about his involvement, but I'm like, girl, you knew what you were doing with what you were saying and how you were thinking about everything.
Well, actually, I think that she didn't necessarily know how much like control or like how much power Laris really had. Like
Like to what
I feel like
extent he would do it.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I feel what I got from that scene was her, kind of venting to this friend just to like be heard by somebody and then realizing like, oh shit, how I really feel like means a lot more, when she can like when she has the power to do something about it, right? But Laris really had that power, not so much her. Um yeah, I think she's starting to understand like, okay, Laris is a player here, because he was just a kind of a whisperer,
She's
like a
kind of like
listener.
the president or the CEO, and he's kind of like the middle manager here. And she
Mm.
didn't really say to do this, but he just kind of like went and did something super illegal, and then now it's like, well, why did you do that? Now we have this bigger problem.
Yeah,
Like, and the middle manager would be like, what are you complaining for? I took care of it, right? And it's like,
yeah.
well, I didn't want it done like that.
Mm.
So,
So,
But
yeah.
I know we don't want to talk about him, but what about his little army that he's building? Are those the same guys who then are in like Game of Thrones in
The
those
White
brown
Walkers?
what guys?
robes?
What guys?
Like the little army that Laris has, like the people that like executed that whole fire. Weren't
Yeah,
those the people from like the jail or something?
yeah, yeah.
What? And also, I closed my eyes. What did he do to them?
He cut out their tongues.
So they couldn't talk about it. Like they couldn't say who told them to do this. Like if they were to get caught, right? So
And
he's like,
I
oh,
mean, they could still point.
that's something that's in the books too, and in Game of Thrones. And it's like, well, like there are ways of interrogating people. Like it'd be like,
A pen
well,
and paper.
is it somebody with brown hair? And then you could be like, you ever play what was that game as a
charades?
kid when you where you have like all the
Guess
faces?
who? Guess
Guess
who?
who? Yeah,
Yeah,
guess who?
like-
Guess who? It's like, is it somebody with brown hair? And the guy could go like this, or he could nod his head or shake his head. Was it?
Glasses?
Yeah. Did he have glasses? No. It's like, did he have a
No.
mustache?
Shake his head.
And it's like, no. It's like, so you could still
Did he
interrogate
walk with a
people.
limp?
Yes.
But what I'm saying is, weren't there people like that in Game of Thrones too? Remember that one guy that like did it and then he ended up being underground when all that like green poison exploded and he was like one of the first ones to blow up. Remember that guy? He walked in like a brown robe and there was a whole tribe of them. Of
Those
them?
are the
Like
faith,
that religious
the faith militant.
peoples.
That was the religious group.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's something else, I
Yeah.
think.
Oh. But
It's. I don't know if he might employ these guys again, or he might just. If I were him, like if you employed these guys to do a job, you would probably then have them killed themselves after they do the job. That's like the first rule of assassination is kill the assassins after it's done.
Right.
it is.
Well, I've seen too many movies and read too many books. That's how it's done, Claudia. Trust me. Source, trust me.
Isn't that what like a Born Identity's whole plot is? Something like that.
Yeah.
So I guess I missed the part where he's building an army, and that's just
Well,
like
I might be dramatizing it a little
Well,
bit.
we don't know if he just like was getting them just to do that job, or if he wants them to work for him more after that.
But it kind
but
of
he
looks
could
like
also
it because
like
then
recruit
they all go
all of the
underground.
prisoners. Who?
Those guys
Really?
after they do them after they
Well, they
did
just
that
might be escaping.
job,
I don't
they
know.
all went
Yeah.
like underground. They're all wearing the same shit. I was like, oh, they're going back to their meeting place. That's what I thought. I was like, okay, job one done. Off
He's
the list.
probably gonna use them again though. Like
Yeah.
you know.
Or like something along those lines of like recruiting kind of like prisoners and yeah, them carrying out
Or,
jobs.
Claudia, you ever see like the Dark Knight, the Christian Bale Dark Knight
No.
with the Joker, Heath Ledger?
Mm-mm.
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah, I've only seen the
You're gonna
most
have to get the other guy on the podcast for that
You
reference.
get Josh, yeah.
I've only seen the most recent Batman, and I think I saw it with you.
Yeah, we all saw it together.
Oh yeah,
Batman.
yeah, yeah. The
Yeah. Oh
Pattinson,
my God. Yeah,
Robert
we did it.
Pattinson. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, one other thing I wanted to talk about real quick. The last thing was the scene where Harwin says goodbye to the kids. And
Oh yeah. And he said, "Is Harwin my father? Am I
and
a bastard?
I just
Am
like
I
my
a
heart broke
bastard?"
because it was like this must be so confusing for those boys, especially the oldest
Yeah.
one. The younger one might not be aware of things, but like the oldest one is definitely he's already asked her point blank like, is he my father? And you can tell that Harwin loves them, and you can tell that he at least really likes Harwin. You know, he's around a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
And she's like,
And
she didn't answer him, right? She said, all that matters is you are Targaryen or something. And it's just
yeah,
like,
something like
And
that.
I feel like the kids like him too.
yeah,
Because when
Hmm.
he comes in that scene and they're all hanging out.
yeah.
So,
And then the husband of Rhaenyra is like has no scenes like with the kids teaching them anything, you know. So it's not like the alleged father or the actual public father has any kind of father son relationship with the kids.
And the funny thing about this is like a lot of the times for like those lords and royalty or whatever, the men don't like have a lot of part in raising the kids. Like they
Mm,
leave it to like when they're really little, they leave it to the nannies, and then when they're older, they leave it to like the guy, the master at arms, the guy in charge of the armory or the sword fighter, the head sword fighter of the family or whatever. So
mm-hmm.
like, but in this case, it like fits their family really well because Laenor just goes off and on his adventures
Parties,
with his little buddies, and then
manstresses.
his lusty boys or whatever that Rhaenyra said. She said like every lusty boy, and so like Harwin is actually like able to spend a lot of a time with his own sons, which is like
Mm-hmm.
kind of not the norm.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, when he says, when we meet again, I'll be a stranger.
were you crying there, Claudia?
I was like, oh my God, wow, they really will be. And then he died. And I was like, oh my God, they're never going to meet again.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, I'm very naive to the getting my hopes up, thinking the best, and then someone dying. So,
No, you gotta recognize like just when you think this arrangement sounds perfect, girl, it's not gonna last. Like something bad is coming.
It's like that
yeah.
line in Game of Thrones Tyrion had in one of those seasons. He said, if you think this story has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention.
Mm, Claudia.
Literally, I'm like, oh, yay,
And
butterflies,
just like
birds.
after the first season of Game of Thrones, my mom was like, Ryan, like it, like the Arya's gonna come back and like help Rob, and they're gonna like kill everyone and take over, right? And I'm like, oh, mom, like, ugh. And I had read all the books up into that point, and I'm like, ugh. Like, and she's like, no, and I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah, but
Oh,
I still love the show. It gets me every time. I think literally after every episode, I'm like, no, that's my new favorite episode
So
because it just keeps getting better.
if you want to read something short, if you want to educate yourself, House of the this Dance of the Dragons period in their history is based on real history, which is called the Anarchy, and it was a civil war between two cousins for the British throne or for the English throne back in like the 1100s, and
Oh wow, I
yeah,
did not know that.
it was the king had a daughter and he had a nephew, and unfortunately the king's son had died in an accident, so all he had left for legitimate children was a daughter, and he had a nephew. And when the king died, the two of them didn't get along and duked it out for the throne of England. So, if you want to read the Wikipedia article, you can just read that real quick. That's like a 10 minute read.
And find out what happens?
And that's not exactly how it's going to play out in this.
Oh, okay.
My point was, if you think this story has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention. That was my point. And if you read that article, it's like, not a happy ending. So,
I think I will read that article.
But
so
anyways,
then,
go
do
ahead.
we know anything about the next episode? Like, how long is this time jump going to be? Which of the cast members are going to change in the next one?
So I don't think there's going to be a huge time jump. There might be, but there's definitely going to be an incident that it's pretty big in the book that happens based on the preview. I don't want to say what it is, but I'm like 85% sure it's going to happen. But the kids are still going to be relatively the same age. But probably the episode after that, episode 8 or 9, there'll be another time jump, because I think the kids have to be, at least Aegon has to be fully grown by the end of the season, maybe. So,
do we know if there's going to be any other cast changes, or this is our new cast for the remainder of the season?
For the adults, this is the cast for the remainder of the season. The kids are going to change.
Okay.
Definitely the kids are going to change, because there's been footage in other trailers of them being older. So, this next episode, I don't think they're going to be, it'll be the big time jump, but there might be one after that. Again. But like I said, all the adults should be staying the same. The kids will grow older. And they'll just make the adults look a little bit older. So, really looking forward to it, though. Next week is going to be a big episode. I'm like 85% sure it's going to happen. I don't want to spoil it, but
Ooh.
It's going to be
Who's it? Who does it involve?
Everybody.
Okay.
It involves Kalala, so keep your eyes peeled, Evelina. Protect her.
She's gone.
Okay.
She's over in the kitchen.
Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about before we sign off?
Oh, I wanted to talk about. Okay, so
I gotta go soon.
Well, this is about Deadpool Wolverine.
Okay, don't know anything.
Did you see that?
We'll go offline for that, Claudia. Let me end the recording.
Oh, okay.
Here. Okay. So thank you everybody for listening. This will probably be the second part. Well, I'll figure that out later. So everybody, thank you for listening. We will be back maybe next week for another episode 7 of House of the Dragon.
Yes.
And don't worry, darling, episode coming soon.
Okay.
I will make sure it happens.
Okay. All right.
TBD.
All right. So thanks for listening.
That means
everybody.
I gotta watch it this week.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.
Good night. Thank you.